Well, I need to mention to you all that as for this time around, I decided to kind of have the baby bears close by as I record this next video, and we're going to continue carving Mama Bear here. So I'd say that there's a lot of time in our hands, so I've been kind of tired. I've been a little exhausted lately. It just had so much going on, and so a little more work comes along. That's what we get to do, and I'm going to show y'all a few more steps. I think this time around we're going to try to carve a little bit more around here to try to make it so we get around to the part of her that kind of makes her chin come out a little more. You know, she comes to be a piece of work this time around, but you know, the work is gonna be a little long ways to go, so we finally kind of separate around the chin from the side of the front leg here. We're going to take care of her on this other piece too, and I'd say there's just been some adventures I've had today. Little place down in downtown Lexington, my town, called High on Art and Coffee. I took a little trip down there today and found out that they didn't have the inside place open. They only take orders from the outside desk, so apparently it's not an open hangout place, and found out it was all like because of the pandemic and all they did that. So that was the little bit of work we had to share there. I'm going to kind of round the feet off a little bit, and that's how she looks from the front. We're going to do the same little bit of work down on this way to kind of make it so she's coming to work the way she is. And I say a little piece of time here and making time little special ways. And I say we're going to kind of make a cut down the middle, a V cut, to kind of show that she's going to have her front feet separated. Kind of make that little cut down the center. Have another little triangle here that we're cutting out to make it like that. I see it's not all that different from the baby bears now that I kind of have them staying close by where I can kind of check on them, see how they are, see how they're doing, and also just kind of getting the work so it's coming in quite a deal of a way. And we've come that far now. I do think there's little places where we need to round off the back feet as well, and we got to take care of that little step here, for we got probably more than one big mama bear here, so we've kind of made it so she can kind of sit a little more easily. Take care of that little matter right there in our hands, and see what we have that we are coming up with, I say. And a little work here and there, kind of make our way into her. I see is just the way she's turning out. Got little cuts to make, and finally we come down to that. I would say that as for these little bears, there's a little more work to do into them. We kind of got to make it so we round off their chins, round round off their faces. Oh, I tell you, the way we carve this stuff and the way this wood comes out so softly, it is just a blind piece of wood. Oh, just a lot of work goes into a good piece of wood here, and makes a little shiny noise. Makes a little blessed noise for us all. Oh, to take us to another place in life where we're gonna see greater, better things in life. And I say that this little work is just good piece, and I say that we come this way and take these things into our best consideration here, and kind of come down to what it really, really, really needs to be. I still remember old times when we used to be in places and all the things we used to hear. A lot to learn about carving, you know. It's kind of a good hobby to get into if you know what you're doing. Some people, I'd say, they don't enjoy all the different types of wood, but I always loved working with them. I always loved trying things out. So that's what we have finally come down to with the carving in the area that it goes, and seeing how this little piece of work constructs itself. I say that the bear is going to turn out just fine as it is. We kind of got to put a little faith and work into this and make it so it looks very great and all. And I say a little time and effort will pay off eventually. All we got to have for ourselves is just a little bit of perseverance now and then, and that's when we finally make it work the way it should be. Oh, I say these days, you know, it's hard to put a lot of work on a market, but it'll all be good once it comes down to that. You know, there's some work that's so easy for people to make, and then there's other that takes a little time and patience to do. Some of us just get a little bit more involved in what we do, and I tell you, I've been so blessed for sure. One time I was at a sipping shop in Winchester, and you know, there was a young lady with special needs come by the desk with her, with a couple of older ladies, and among things that were mentioned there, it was like, I asked the people how old she was. They told me her age, and told them that I just see things and I care about people. I said I'm special needs myself, so I care about people, and said that's a good way to be. Somebody who saw that I had special needs, they said, well, it's a good thing you have this business together. It was quite a lot of work for me to try to do at first, but we finally came down to it and made it so it was all good in the end. I think I've got a few more steps to take on this one as well. Try to make the face out a little better. Try to make it a little thinner. We finally got in the parts we need to get, but we're going to take care of this place over the head where we need to round it off a little bit. And coming down to it, there's no telling what anything can look like when you get done, but this is how Mama Bear is turning out, you know. And there were little strange things we noted in our lives. We've seen little weird things at times, and sometimes we got to know that somebody's looking out to us, somebody's watching over us, you know, somebody sees what we're doing, and somebody finds out. So it all, and see, as you see here, I've chipped off the corner of the ear to kind of round it off a bit. I'm going to take care of that same little step on this one as well. So that's how the work is going to go. And we're going to try to take it on this side as well. So that's how that's going to be. And we're going to kind of try to round it off a little at this ear, round it off a little at this other ear, and kind of make it so they come out to be little mama bears that will hold their babies. And as you see, we're making it come out the way it ought to be. And I say that a little world that comes to us shall shine its way into us, make us so we're all seeing better things to come. And I'd say that it's real disturbing times, you know. Everybody's going through a lot these days, so we all got to be busy trying to make things better for each of us, try to make the world better for those around us. And that's the kind of thing that in my life I'd be trying my best to do. Now we're going to try to carve along the back, make it so it's going to be a little rounder down the sides, and make the back a little rounder so it's in better shape. Try to carve the butt out a little thinner so it's rounder in the back. Try to make the work come along and fashion its way into us. I say that little time and offerings, little time and offering. And we're about to come down to it here. We're going to take the mama bear too, come down to what she's going to be. And these are going to be like two little sets of bears. Each is going to be a mama with her two cubs. And these are going to come out so sweet in the end. People think little things like this come out off as a little bit of an adorable little thing to them. And as for a little work and fashion and the way our art business comes out, I say there's things we can be quite qualified for when we come down to it. There's a lot of things I enjoy getting around, a lot of things I enjoy being around, and I always enjoy meeting other artists and other entrepreneurs of different kinds. So everybody's just got to be out there to kind of vend something. I just kind of also took a notion with a show that is in Nicholasville coming up on Small Business Saturday, the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So I had been wanting to do that show so many years, but even before the pandemic, but with all the ways things have turned out and the way I've followed the page for it, now this just finally became my chance, and little perseverance pays off for us in the end, eventually. I'd say that we're coming down to making the legs of the bear. The forelegs are going to be their own kind of work. We got a little carving magic coming on, and all the work shall be ever so brighter to us once we come down to it in the end, making it so we see a little faith in our lives and a little faith in our souls. Oh, grace is sufficient. God is good. And now this becomes a time where we're finally rounding things off here, finally taking off the sides here, so that we can get rid of all the pencil marks and saw marks and stuff that are coming that way. So we're getting rid of all this extra wood, all this excess wood that's kind of making its way into us, and oh, I see a little light coming in now. Oh, bless the Lord. I say that this kind of work will pay us off in the end, and this is all just exactly what we are finally coming down to. Making this little bear out of Tupleo scraps. And finally, we're going to end this video in a little bit, but there's going to come a point where I'm going to do another one and demonstrate how we sand. But it's getting to the point where chips are everywhere. We sort of need to stop the video to clean the chips up out of the space. So we're going to stop that. We're going to take care of that. We're going to get a little more motivated in the end to make this all better. So once we get done here, the mother bear is going to be nice, and she's going to be sanded off, and we are finally going to have a real good piece of work. I say it's all just coming down to just the little things we need to make it to be, and see how it shall shine in the light. I think we're going to try to make the bears of the ears of the mamas similar to how we did the ears of the babies. Try to chip away corners, make the ears a little better angled in the end, and that's how we're going to get her to turn out. And finally do that with this one too, and I'll show you all what they're supposed to look like in the end and be exactly like what you're going to see. This is how they come out with the ears in the end and all the other work done. So we're going to try to clean this mess up here, and then I'll be back to show you all how I sand them. Take care and goodbye.